So, do I miss my new 2024 Toyota Tacoma? For those of you that don't know, I am in Columbus, Ohio. Been here for a little while now, and I did not bring the Tacoma with me. I still have some regrets as to not driving that truck up here. I think it would have been perfectly fine from a comfort standpoint, but instead I opted to ride in a motorhome because I thought that would be even more comfortable and also save the front end and the windshield of the Tacoma from stone chips and stuff, particularly in South Texas where it's very prone down there. You can't drive anywhere without getting a stone in the windshield. So, do I miss it? Absolutely, I miss it. Now, what have I been driving? Well, I've been driving this. This is a Honda Civic. It is the 4-door, as you can see. Plenty roomy inside, plenty of pep to it. It is a 4-cylinder. I really do like the car. I'm a fan of Hondas anyway, so it's not such a bad thing. However, they do sit lower. You know, it's amazing to me when I get out of the car, I almost stomp my foot when I go to step out, right? Because I'm not used to being so low on the ground in something that I'm driving more frequently. Unlike the Tacoma, which I do have a lift on. It has about a 2.5 inch level lift, but it's higher anyway. And when I get out, I kind of slide over that step rail, which I think I'm gonna have to remove. It's really just kind of in the way for me, and I think I will do that. But anyway, it's a steeper drop, or more of a drop, I guess. So I do notice every time I get in and out of this car, I'm stomping on the ground. Now, there was another option, something I could drive here. This is a Lotus Elise. It is a teeny tiny little car, right? I mean, I love the looks of it, don't get me wrong. It is awesome, and it's fun to drive. However, there is a problem, and for those of you out there who talk about the Tacoma being so small, particularly in the back, I should say, the rear seats, check this out. Look how tiny this is on the inside. Now, this is set up as more of a street racer, I guess, sort of. But anyway, you have this big kind of side rail hump to overcome to get in these teeny tiny thin seats. And when you're inside here, there is very little space. It is a manual transmission. Like I said, it's fun to drive. The car weighs like nothing. So it's pretty easy to kick around. Taking curves and corners and things in this car is awesome. But getting in and out of here is kind of complicated. You have no space in the whole door entry area here, right? And when you get out, you kind of have to throw your leg out over the side or even kind of take a dive out of the seat onto the ground and kind of crawl out, right? So, not the most comfortable thing in the world. I will say the top comes off, and if you had the top part off, it then would be much easier to just kind of step inside here, right? Of course, you've got no room between your foot and the side panel here, but nonetheless, it would be much easier to get in and out of this car if it didn't have the top on it. This car really makes me miss the Toyota Tacoma. You know, the size of the Tacoma, particularly the new one, is bigger anyway. It's one thing that I'm still trying to get used to, honestly, because it is seemingly quite a bit bigger, at least perception-wise, on the outside. And I say perception-wise, and I know the dimensions are a little bit bigger anyway, but not so much bigger that you get in it and it's equal to a full-size truck, right? Although, I was driving down the road, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, something like that, and I pulled up next to a full-size, older Toyota Tundra. And I gotta say, I was looking right over at the driver while sitting in my truck. Again, keep in mind, it does have that 2.5 inch level lift, so it did bring me up a little bit. So maybe not exactly a fair comparison to stock, but nonetheless, I look over to the left and I'm looking right at the person driving the truck. I'm not used to that. particularly in my third gen. I never really noticed that before. I always felt smaller and lower. And some of it might have to do with the hood scoop. I think the way that the hood is set up with that scoop and the ridges on the side make the truck feel a little bit bigger. Of course, that doesn't account for my sight level when I'm sitting in the truck, but nonetheless, it felt strange to be as tall or big feeling as a full-size older Toyota Tundra. And keep in mind, they have grown over the years as well, right? When the Tundra first came out, it was quite a bit smaller, I think, than what we have today. Another thing I miss about it, honestly, is the power. I wouldn't say it's hugely more powerful than the four-cylinder Civic, keeping in mind the Civic weighs less, it's geared differently, it's a car, but nonetheless, it is equivalent when it comes to fun factor driving around now, right? And that's a testament to the new four-cylinder turbo. The third gen Tacomas didn't used to be that way, at least not without a pedal commander in them anyway. They were gutless, they're slow, and I don't know how anybody could argue that. Even the third gen faithful have to admit that a stock third generation Tacoma is pretty darn weak when it comes to acceleration. Again, pedal commander will take care of that, but nonetheless, from a stock standpoint, they are pretty darn slow. Not true in the new truck, and I do miss that. The gauge cluster and all of that stuff definitely is a step up from what I'm driving right now. Nothing wrong, again, with the Hondas. They are an excellent commuter car, and again, one of my favorites. I do miss the Tesla too, by the way. If you didn't know, I bought a 2024 Tesla about a month or two ago, something like that. And it always sucks. Never buy a new vehicle and then leave, because I guarantee you, you're going to miss it until you get back. So I can't wait to get back into it. More mods and things coming. Again, I think I'm definitely going to take off those side rails. As I'm sitting here thinking about it, all I really do is drag my foot across them when I get out and kind of step over them when I get in the truck. I just don't think they're necessary. Handy if maybe you are of shorter stature, or maybe your spouse or significant other, whatever, is shorter. I can see how they would benefit you in that case, but for me, it's kind of marginal. They're really just more in the way. Anyway, I just wanted to get on, kind of give you guys an update, what's going on, where I am. I will be back to the Tacoma soon. Probably by the time you see this video, I'll already be back. I'm sure I will. And enjoying the brand new Toyota Tacoma finally. Leave a comment. Let me know. When you leave your truck, whether it's a new Tacoma or an older Tacoma, do you miss it? I'd be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.